Hi. Hey.
What's up?
All your favorite artists.
Check it out.
Say my name.
DJ Khaled.
This is Mila J.
Bruno Mars.
On hot7025fm.com.
Yo, it's Tavon Greatness Patterson. Want to listen to Hot 7025 on the go? Download the Hot 702.5 app on the Apple Store or Google Play Store if you got an Android like me.
Let's get it.
It's your main man, 360 the Poet from the Morning Wood. And are you looking for the perfect drink? Well, you found it. Mimosa Royale is the perfect combination of California sparkling white wine and natural juice that is both tasty and refreshing. No artificial colors or flavors, no sugar added, and it's gluten-free. As the world's first ready-to-drink mimosa, Mimosa Royale is perfect for any occasion, day or night. You no longer have to drink 12 of those seltzers just to get that perfect buzz. At 8% alcohol, Mimosa Royale is the perfect drink to party with. Offered in a variety of flavors and sizes, you are bound to find a Mimosa Royale that you'll love. We have berry, mango, apple, and orange, with more flavors to come. Mimosa Royale is the most award-winning flavored wine that serves in bottles or cans. You can find them online at drinkmimosa.com or find them at your local liquor store. Ask for it by name. Mimosa Royale.
Tune in now on hot7025fm.com.
What's going on, everybody? It's your main man, 360 the Poet from the Morning Wood, and I'm here to talk to you about the Sci-Fi Center. It's your Vegas home for science fiction, horror, and fantasy. From comic books, toys, and posters to movie screenings and live events, they've got you covered. Located at 900 Cameron Avenue, Suite B209, give them a call, 702-900-4335, or reach them at thescificenter.com. Yeah, man, we back. Boomba clock, wagwan. Now I'm just messing with y'all. What's up, everybody? It's hump day, baby. And you know where we are. We right here. We back at hot7025fm.com. It's your main man, 360 the Poet, right here. Back at you. I bounce back like a pot of cook. I ain't gonna say it. I ain't gonna say it, but those of y'all know how to turn 7 into 14. Y'all know what I'm talking about. But we back in this thing like a wedgie, baby. What y'all doing out there? Where y'all at? What y'all doing and where y'all doing it at, baby? I need to know what's going on with y'all out there. So we live and direct from Hot 7025 FM, like I said before, and it's your main man, 360 the Poet. So, you know, we've been off for a little bit and stuff like that, but we're not really off, but we just came in here doing a couple things beforehand, and me and Eve was doing our thing in the morning. So if y'all ain't had a chance to tune in to our version of the best morning show in the world, then I need y'all to check us out on the one and only The Morning Wood. So we did that this morning, and we got our rhythm back in this thing out there doing The Morning Wood. So let me make sure I'm on there, checked in, boom, boom, boom. And we gonna go 3, 2, 1, and ride. So there we go. So what's happening, y'all? What we doing out there? We kicking it. We are kicking it right here on Hot 7025 FM. And we got a good topic today. I know last couple weeks we've been doing the first couple parts of our series, Sacrifice for Success, but we're going to step away from that for a little bit this week, and we're going to readdress a couple letters, get back to sort of what we do around here, because we're going to get back to it because we got part 3 coming up. What's up, Lucy Lowe? What's going on, Ty Boog? Everybody that's checking in with me over here on IG. But yeah, we're gonna get back. What up, Dakarai? I see you over there Facebooking it for me, homeboy. But yeah, we're gonna get back to a little bit of what we do, because I got a couple letters stacked up in the Instagram. I'm sorry, I got some in IG, I got some on Facebook, and I got a lot of them on holla at the homie at gmail.com. What up, young Stitch? Man, it's so crazy. Man, it's funny you got on here today, bruh. I just got finished spitting some bars, like in the car on the way here. It was a beat that was on, and I spit some bars that I recorded with you, man. That made me think about you. Stitch Diego, my dog. Salute on, boy. Good to see you out there doing your thing still, brother. But yeah, so we getting back to kind of what we do, you know, being the #1 advice column online or in person. So if you get a chance to come check me out here in studio in Las Vegas, then that's an opportunity for you, or you can check on live, or you can get on the IG. What's up, Click Shell? Long time, my girl. Good to see you back. One of my faithfuls out there that checked in with us over here one time on Hot 7025 with Holla at the Homie with 360 the Poet. That's THAPOET. Make sure you spell it right because it means something. Tenacity, heart, and attitude present opportunities every time. But we here. We got a letter. Welcome back to, Holla at the Homie. It's where we handle relationships, friendships, all the different ships in between and what's going on, things like that. I've been good, my girl. I've been good, my lady. I've been hanging like a hubcap in the fast lane. But we back handling those type of situations, and we got a letter from somebody that called themselves Family First. And a lot of us out there, we know we always have dealings with when it comes to relationships and family ships, and there's always some balance that needs to be had, right? So we got a letter from somebody who calls themselves Family First, and I love it when I really can't tell whether it's coming from, a male or female or however somebody may identify. I'm glad I can't tell in this one. It's a little ambiguous, so that makes me feel a little bit better so I can give it from a perspective of neutrality. You know what I mean? I like to come from an even keel. So if I'm not speaking from a guy's perspective in regards to a guy, or, don't get me wrong, I love to be able to know sometimes, but it feels better when I'm able to answer these questions when I don't know who they are really. And this person didn't even leave their IG, so I don't know if they tuned in or tapped in or not. So we're going to go with it like that. So let's go ahead and dive into the letter. Dear Holla at the Homie, I'm reaching out for some advice on a delicate issue in my relationship. My partner and I have been together for a while now, and while we get along great, there's some problems that's been bothering me. And there's one problem that's been bothering me. When it comes to our families, it feels like I'm putting in a lot more effort than they are. I treat their family members with kindness and respect, and often going out my way to help or spend time with them. However, I don't feel that same consideration from my partner towards my family. Now, they don't seem to be putting in the same level of effort or care as when it starts, or, and it's starting to create a little bit of tension. Nothing to be concerned about, but just enough to make me feel a little uncomfortable when it comes to our spending time with families. Now, I love my partner, and I don't want this to drive a wedge between us. But I also can't ignore how it makes me feel. How do I approach this conversation without causing a big fight or making them feel attacked? I want to find a way for us to be more balanced in how we treat each other's families. Sincerely, Family First. Whoa. So some of y'all out there know what it's like, in dealing with families. And this person said they've been with their partner for quite some time, it says. They have been together for quite a while, it says, and while they get along great, there's some problems. There's one problem that's been bothering them. So it's not like they've got issues or there's a lot of tumult going on in their relationship, but it's this one particular thing that's sort of nagging at them, that's sort of, pulling on their chain a little bit. So that's where we are at with it now, right? So we're at a point where, let me get a little more volume over there. We're at a point where now, in this situation, in this conversation, that they're getting to feel a little bit uncomfortable. They said nothing to be too concerned with, but just something that makes me feel a little uncomfortable when it comes to spending time with each other's families. So, and so it's not like they're mad or angry. So I get that out the letter. So that's one thing, because that doesn't come off as if it's an anger, or it's just, maybe it's like a blister, Sometimes a blister, after doing the hard work, you develop a callus, and that callus may turn into a blister, And so now, after putting in the effort, now that blister gets irritated when it feels like it's no care coming back to relieve the efforts on the blister. Because if this person's saying that they put in hella effort when it comes to their other person's family, and that must mean they do the same when it comes to their own family. So now they've got an issue about, like, it's just causing a little discomfort. It's got a little uncomfortable in the situation. So, and they don't want the person to feel attacked. They don't want their partner to feel like they're, I want to fight with them or making them feel attacked. I want to find a way for us to be more balanced. That's the word I mentioned at the beginning, balanced on how we treat each other's families. So what up, Critty B? So let's dive into it, right? So first of all, Family First, thank you for writing. I appreciate you. I took time to read your letter. You took time to send your letter, and I've written some extenuous notes on what I believe we can, again, I always like to give my disclaimer. I've never been to school for. I've never taken a single class other than, intro to psychology. So I'm not certified as a psychologist, psychiatrist, and or a counselor. But what I am is a person who's lived a life that's been full of color. And through that, I've either lived vicariously through others who've allowed me to sponge up some game from them, or I've experienced things myself. And now what I'm doing is I'm squeezing it back out to y'all, in regards to these questions that come across my desk. And I love when my peanut gallery checks in because, what's up, Unc? My Uncle Popeye just checked in with me over there. I love when the peanut gallery checks in and gives you all's opinion about what you feel or how you feel about this situation or something that may be similar or you may have gone through. Because, again, that's me living vicariously through you all and allowing me to sponge that game up as well. So it helps me give some answers back to the people also. So I encourage it. So if you feel it, say it. Say it with your chest. Say it with your fingers. Say it with your thumbs, whatever you out there on, If you're on a computer, use all your fingers. QWERTY it up. If you're texting, maybe talk it into the phone. I do that. I don't like to text a whole lot. My thumbs don't like the phone. But so again, first off, thank you for writing in because I appreciate you for anybody who does that and or anybody who checks in with us and tunes in. Now the thing is, you're right. Relationships are about balance, right? And this is a tough spot to be in. I'm not gonna lie, because we've all felt it in some way or another. Possibly. Maybe not. Maybe it's always peaches and cream with everybody's family. Maybe from the beginning it's like that. Some people may feel a little uncomfortable in the beginning. But this person said they've been together for a while, so. It's always sometime when we come across the, my family, your family dynamic. So this is what we're exploring today, because I believe in the whole family is family. That's my take on it. My family in love, I don't like to say in law because I like to say in love because I'm, if I'm gonna be married, it's out of love. It ain't because I'm committed by law. Again, that's paperwork stuff, but I'm committed. My in loves, it's I prefer us all to call each other family, but I do get where it's the times where, maybe in the beginning that things weren't all cohesive yet, then there may be some discomfort. So I'm coming from that situation. And I'm also coming from a situation where I know somebody who may be dealing with something similar, but just maybe not to this extent. It may just be the beginning of there. So again, please take everything I say with a grain of salt because I'm just coming from outside looking in, scooping up some of this perspective, But then again, maybe I got some of it going on too. So there we go. You got to be able to think about how to address it, for one, thoughtfully, meaning considering what the response from them will be based off how you said it, right? How did somebody do that? Somebody put a thumbs up. I ain't never seen that before in a bubble, but that was cool. But you know what I mean? So you got to be thoughtful about it, right? And also respectfully. You don't want to just come at people and like, why you treat me so bad? I don't know why, baby. You know what I mean? So it's like you got to kind of be thoughtful and respectful in regards to how you handling the business, So, the first thing is you got to choose the right place. Y'all know what I always say. Timing is everything, and communication is a two-way street. And you got to be willing to listen, and you got to be able to speak, right? Now, do we always exercise these things? No. But to the best of your ability, I need you to try to dive in family first and create some of these moments to share with your partner. You got to be thoughtful and respectful in talking to them, but you pick the place. Make sure it's not a spot when y'all both in a heated moment, because when you're in the heat of the moment, all the things that you don't like about each other come out, and it shouldn't, but do they? Yeah. So you don't want to really discuss this particular thing when you're in a heated moment, or you don't want to discuss it when you all jovial and in a happier moment when you somewhere, don't spoil the moment either. Don't exacerbate the issue and don't spoil the moment. Meaning if you all having a good time, don't bring up this ish right then and there, Would you say, Click Shell, from personal experience, I found myself fellowshipping with my man's family much more than we were with mine. Even though I noticed it, I figured that it was because my family is not as close. See, that might be a different dynamic as well. See, that's what I'm saying. So family first, I hope you listen to Click Shell. She said she realized once she noticed the fact that they spent more time with her man's family than with her own, that it was just that her family just maybe wasn't that close and they wouldn't be spending that time together in order for them to be able to be the same or similar around each other. You know, that's a new dynamic. I like that take on it too, Click Shell. You know, so I appreciate you. It's like you got to make sure it's when you come and get into the situation, make sure it's good and you at home, it's a good setting, because that allows this conversation to go across a little bit better. And then also in that when you're talking about it, you got to we all, when I say you, I mean we all. Would you say, Stitch, my girl is not as close as mine and it makes us closer. Okay, and I get that. Like your girl's family not as close as y'all's, and it makes y'all closer as a couple. So if I think that's what you're saying in that. You said if it wasn't for a birthday party or a holiday, we really didn't get together for my family, Click Shell. And see, that's understandable as well. See, because my family's similar to that. My family's close, but we don't really get together unless it's a celebratory moment. You understand what I'm saying? Whereas, you know, my wife's family, they get together because it's Thursday. You know what I mean? Sometimes, you know what I mean? They Thursday and they around each other close enough to drive to each other, you know? So, and so that's a different dynamic, you know? But then, you know, stuff like that. So my family don't visit as much, you know? So it's a whole different dynamic. So I get all of that, the imbalance of it, to where when you look at it and you may seem or you may be feeling this way, you got to kind of find where does the three fingers point back in my direction type of thing. Like, don't look for your faults in it. If you're, family first, don't look at your faults in it. What's up, Story of Rory? Good to see you on here, lady. You know, don't look at the faults within yourselves. You know, just look at it as like, okay, where is an opportunity for me and my family to be treated better? You know, type of thing. Like, not as far as like saying like, oh, well, they don't treat my family the same, so my family don't come around. No, if that's the dynamic, then that's another discussion as well. But when you having these conversations, family first, I need you to first, like you say, like I said, choose the right place. Find a spot that's going to be, okay, let me be here. So it's not a tense moment, but then stay away. This is something we all need to do. Stay away from the I statements. You know what I mean? I'm sorry, not stay away from them. Stay away from the you statements. Choose more I statements is what I'm saying. Like, so put the onus more on you because you're inquiring, you know, instead of saying it like, you know, you never make effort with my family or something like that. Say things more along the lines like, I feel a little uncomfortable, even if you do feel hurt. Say, I feel hurt, you know, when my family doesn't get the same attention that I give yours. You know, so what that does is it keeps the focus on your feelings, and it doesn't sound so accusatory, if that makes sense. Because when you accuse somebody of something, it makes them feel they got to be on the defense, because right then you pointing at a boom, you did this, you did this, you did this, you did this, you did this. But remember, when I say, when you point the finger, three fingers point right back at you, me, myself, and I. How am I involved in this? And like I said before, you got to look for those moments. How am I involved in my family not receiving the same treatment when you go to point that finger, right? So that's why you have to use those I statements, because that's what you're interested in. You're interested in finding out, what's up, Al Rich, and this, you're interested in finding out why is it that your family doesn't feel as taken care of as their family, as your partner's family. So you have to use those I statements, because these are the things that I want to know. Family first, right? That's what you say. You want to know this. So use the I statement. Say, I don't feel as comfortable, or I feel uncomfortable or even hurt that my family doesn't receive the same treatment as I give yours. That, and again, that keeps you from sounding like you're accusing them of mistreatment. It's just, you just don't see the same good treatment as you give theirs. So it's not saying that you don't give your family any good treatment, you know, so because that means they're mistreating them, but you just don't feel it's up to par with what the effort is that you give on your side. So again, you have to use the I statements. Be able to say, I feel this way. Because again, it keeps the focus on your feelings. because that's what we're trying to get a resolution and help out to get to the bottom line. What's the point? The point is I feel this way. And I don't want to sound like I'm accusing you, but I do want to find out why it is you treat my family like this. You know, so that makes a bigger difference. That makes a whole lot more sense, right? So now after you choose the right place and after you start with the I statements, right? But you got to be specific and you have to be honest. Don't beat around the bush, be like, you know, because once you've thrown those I statements out there, they gonna want to know, okay, what's the point? Like what is it? What is it that you feel I'm doing or not doing? Right? So now you have the opportunity to be both specific and let them know what they're doing or not doing. So by being honest about how and why you feel that way. Okay, so that's what you got to kind of realize and tap into, like, right? You feeling honest about telling them now that you've got them in the right place and you're using the statements that involve you and not pointing the finger at them per se. So now with that, you got to give examples. Give examples of what's bothering you. You know what I mean? Like, you know, don't just be like, well, I just feel like my family doesn't get the same treatment. No, you got to say, hey, babe, or hey, sir, or hey, ma'am, or hey, honey bunches of oats, whatever you call each other. You know how when I do XYZ, I don't feel the reciprocation when my family is here with that effort coming from you. So because it's something that you're doing specifically that you feel your family is not getting back. So what is that? What's your family not getting back? You know? So be honest. Be specific. Because without the specificities, what's up, Steel Kelly Steel? Without the specificities, you know, and what you say, click share, it could also be a matter of preoccupation. The other partner may feel that they're given equal time when their spouse may not feel the same way. Simple conversation could probably clear it up. Again, you know what I say? Conversation is a two-way street, but you got to be honest about what you talking about. Don't go and men, especially men. I'm telling y'all right now, this is where we get real frustrated. I'm speaking from a guy's perspective on this. Because, again, I don't know what the gender of this particular writer is. And I love that because I'm coming from an equal perspective. But I'm taking to the guys right now. Fellas, I know we get frustrated in conversations when a woman asks you, so what do you mean by that? And we hate it. We hate that sentence, that question, right? But the thing it is, once I was dissecting this, it helped me have a light bulb moment to say like, oh, that's what she mean when she say, what do you mean by that? So I got to be specific. But at the same time, I got to be honest. Like, I can't just be like, well, beat around the bush. Well, I don't know. Like, you know, it's just, it is what it is. You can't, you know, those statements don't fly when you're trying to get clarity. It is what it is you smearing the glass. You saying like, this is what it is, and this is how I feel about what it is. That's you cleaning it with Windex. Now she can see right through it, or he can see right through it, or they can see right through it. You know, so now it's no fogginess, no wiping it off. Nah, it's clear as day now once you specific and you honest about it. You know? And not only that, okay, so what have we done so far? Right now, we picked the right place. You know, like I said, we've got, you know, what we're dealing with today is a writer who wrote in and asked how is it, you know, how to handle the fact that their family doesn't get the same treatment as another family, as their significant other's families gets from them. So they're saying like they treat their partner's family way better than their partner treats their family. So they're trying to figure out how to answer that. I know I forgot to put the title up here. So they're trying to figure out how to answer that, right? And so the way to answer that is, again, first start with picking the right place. picked the right place to where, you know, y'all gonna be locked in, loaded to where there's no interruptions. Y'all good to go. It's solid, right? After that, after you choose the right place, start to use statements that start with I feel this way because this is occurring, you know, and then be honest about it. Don't just say that you feel a certain way without having some actual factuals to go along with it. You got to have some actual factuals, meaning like the stuff that really is bothering you. Speak on it. Say it with your chest. Hell, you know, and again, as I'm dissecting this, I learned this myself. So don't, you know, I'm not sitting there saying we all immune to it. I'm not immune to it. That's why I'm telling you from a perspective of which I can understand. You know, when somebody asks, what do you mean by that? That's when you get specific and you get honest. Be specific. This, and this. And don't sugarcoat it. Give the answer, right? You know, but then after you've dumped all this on them, what's up, Ziggums? After you've dumped all this on them, right? Now you got an opportunity to ask. I didn't say ask. I said ask their perspective. What'd you say, Kelly Steele? I just had this conversation earlier this week, but communication has to happen anytime you feel some type of way instead of letting things pile up, which is a good one, that has bothered you, because ignoring a situation instead of addressing it never ends well. This is true. Again, like we said, it's like a blister. Like I said, this whole thing is like a blister. You know, is nagging you. So if you let that blister grow, next thing you know, your whole heel exposed or the whole side of your foot exposed and you can't even hardly walk because you've allowed that blister to fester. And this is a blister in your relationship. Like I said earlier today on the Morning Wood, I feel like relationship, when you break it down, is how you relate on the ship of life. Like all the things you go through, any relationship you in, how do you relate on that ship? You have to navigate them either way, right? So now, like I say, you got to think of it and ask their perspective on it all. Like, and don't be like, what you feel about that? You know, ask open-ended questions. You say it ends in resentment. Yes, when you let it build up and fester, it's going to end in resentment, Click Shell. You are right about that. And yes, that is facts, Kelly Steele. When you ask their perspective, ask open-ended questions like, how do you feel when we visit my family? Or how do you feel when my family visits? You have to ask these questions and say, like, what is it? Because they may even have a specific reason why they're acting the way that they do. You know what I mean? They may be nervous around your family, or your family may intimidate them, or your family closeness may be something that they look at as like, damn, I wish mine were like that. So they try to get you to put some of that on their family and inject some of that into their family circle. It's a lot of different perspectives, but ask their perspective on why they act the way they do. Or ask them just, how do you feel when my family visits? Or how do you feel when we hang out with my people, with my family? And then ask, how do you feel when we hang out with yours? Don't just put it all on how they feel when they with your people. Find out how they feel when they're around their own, because they may use you as a filter with their family. You never know if you don't ask. You may be the bumper between them and chaos with their family. How would you know if you didn't ask how they felt in that situation? It's always okay to ask questions if you really want to know the answer. Lorenz Tate said in Love Jones, his mama said never ask questions he ain't want to know the answer to. If you want to know the answer, that means ask the question, right? That's my take on it. So you have to ask them how they feel about this whole thing. Don't just go in hoping to get your questions answered. That's lopsided. You know, I'm always going to be angels and devils advocate in the situation. You know, don't just go. I know you want your questions answered, but that can't be the only objective through a conversation. That's a one-sided, one-laned conversation. That's really just y'all talking. Y'all not communicating. If you only want your questions answered, what's your name? Family first. Mr. or Miss or they, family first. You know, you can't go in just hoping that you get the answers to what you're wondering. because it may be some questions that result from your questions. Now you got to be able to answer those from your perspective as well. That's another thing. When you go in and ask their perspective, make sure you solid and know what yours is. That came from being honest and open and, you know what I mean, being real with them when asking and being specific. So you got to be able to stand on what your perspective is when you ask them theirs. Because they're going to ask you, how did blah, blah, blah. And you have to be willing and ready to answer that question. Don't just be one-sided is my opinion on that. You know, like I said, again, never been trained in this, but I lived it. I lived life. Would you say, Click Shell, could also be one family is more drama and issues. Yep. And they may not want to be around them as much. That's another perspective. Again, you have to ask them how they feel. Your family may be the problem. Family first. Your family may be hood and your partner just don't want to tell you. They ain't fooling with you. They ain't fooling with them ninjas. Your family embarrassing. But you got to ask. Ask the question. Maybe your family ain't the comfortablest to be around. Maybe you don't know they feel that way. They've been holding that in the same way you've been holding this in. These are honest and real questions we need to ask ourselves and our partners if we really want to get these answers, right? Ask your family how they feel. I'm pretty sure they talked about it already if you feel like they treated differently. Or ask their family how they feel when you're around and versus when you're not. Because it may be different when you're not around. They may be waiting on you to get there. They be like, man, when is this coming home? Because my family, the person I'm here to see that's related to me, I ain't fooling with them. You know what I mean? Like, it may be something along those lines. Like, you have to ask the questions, how do people feel? Get their perspective, right? You know? And in that, okay, after you've done that, after you've asked, after you found the place that, what's going on, Antonio D. Taylor? After you found the place that was a comfortable spot for y'all to discuss this whole why you treat my family different than I treat yours situation. After you've used the I statements, I feel like, you know, I feel like, you know, my family is treated differently than how I treat your family. Don't say, I feel like you treat my family, because then you're pointing the finger. Say, I feel like my family, that's I and my, keeping them on you, you know, is treated differently than I treat, you know, your family. And so, and that's when you know, that's the only, that goes back to them. All the other me, myself, and I's were coming back to you. That's the one point at them, that I treat your family. You know, so after we've done that, after we've gotten through the things being specific and honest, and, you know, saying things like, you know, I don't like this, that, and this, and be specific about what it is. Don't beat around the bush. After we've done that, and then you ask their perspective, right? Now you've gone through all these phases. The best next thing to do is what? Find a way to, because after you've had these lines of communication open with each other, now you can look forward to finding compromises within this situation. Because again, they may be nervous around your family, or again, your family may be an issue to them. Like, or, you know, your family dynamic really may not be as strong as you think it is. And you think y'all family is tight, but in reality, her family really is, or his family really is tighter. You know, so think of it from a whole, as, you know, think of it 360, a full circle perspective of it. And the only way to get that is to ask them theirs and to honestly own up what yours is. You have to be honest about your perspective in order to get their true perspective. Because if not, if you hold something back, they may not know to address that. So now you mad because they didn't clear the whole board. They didn't check off all the boxes. How, Sway? You didn't give them the boxes. You didn't give them that multiple choice option. So they couldn't take it. And you say, what'd you say, Lucy Lowe? You said maybe they don't know their family members on one side and are more familiar with the other. That's another thing. That's another perspective. Maybe they don't know your family like that. Like, or maybe your family don't be around like that enough to get to be known. You understand what I'm saying? Like, you know, maybe that's the take on it. Again, and you may be looking at it from a one-sided lens because all you see is what you do for their family and what they don't do for your family. But you got to look at the sample size. You know, if they only get 2 opportunities to do something for your family and you happen to get 12 opportunities to do something for their family, the likelihood of you doing more is inevitable because you've had more opportunities. You can't just go 0 for 12 because that means you don't FUBAR with their family at all, even if they went 0.5 of 2. You know what I mean? Or if they went 0 for 2, it still wouldn't be, any way it looks at it, you're going to have to do more because they have more opportunities to do so. So you can't just be upset with the fact that, you know, this is another perspective. That was a good take on that, Lucy Lowe. You can't be upset with the fact that, you know, you do more for their family if you see their family more. And they don't really get a chance to see your family as much to rock with and get a bigger sample size, you know? But again, that's when you find those compromises together through these conversations. That's my next step, I say. Find compromises together. Don't just come up with what's going on, Mrs. Contreras? Long time, Lise. Don't just come up with your own thing. Well, I think this is how we can compromise. Be like, have that come to the middle. Like, come together like armpits. You know what I mean? I used to say come together like butt cheeks, but some people think that stink. So come together like armpits. You know what I mean? So, make sure that y'all meeting in the middle to find a way to reduce the funk in this relationship. You understand what I'm saying? Like, you know, one of y'all may like aluminum deodorant. One of y'all may not like aluminum deodorant. So let's find something with percentage-wise where we can compromise. It don't have to be 0, but it can be like 2. It can be 2, but I don't want that much either because it's going to give you breast cancer. But possibly, allegedly, possibly. You know, I'm not a doctor in any facet. But find them together. You know what I mean? You know, once you've both had a chance to look at this and work together, maybe it's agreeing to attend more family events, or maybe it's agreeing to have your family around more, or maybe it's working on a way to kind of bring the families together if that dynamic will work. Only y'all know that in y'all relationship, you know? My family can be around my wife's family. My wife's family can be around my family, and it's all love, you know what I mean? But everybody doesn't have that same dynamic, right? So what about that in there could you find to compromise with each other? You know, we want both of y'all to feel both heard and valued, right? So, you know, so again, my apologies to all y'all that because I neglected to put my title up on is like, how do you handle it when your significant other's family, your significant other doesn't treat your family the same way you treat theirs? And we talked about finding the right space, finding the right place to make sure it's the right time. Don't ruin a moment and don't exacerbate a moment. Don't do it when you're mad. That's going to make it worse. Don't do it when you're all happy. That's going to make that a bad situation. It's going to leave a mark on that situation, right? Find a time when it's neutral. You know, y'all sitting there walking through Target or something. Y'all on a good time with each other or whatever the case may be. You know, once you do that, then you find a way to use the statements that point at you more than anything, because it's you that want to, mixed families are tough. They are. When you mixing families and figuring out what cousins can be around each other cousins and stuff like that, it shouldn't have to be that way. It should be a big melting pot, but it's never like that 100%. In any family, I don't care what culture. I don't care if somebody don't like somebody from the other side of the family. A lot of times it's the mother-in-law or the father-in-law don't like the wife or the husband. But a lot of times it starts there and it trickles down. But a lot of times it may be a sister or somebody. Anyways, mixed families are tough. But you got to use I statements because these are things that you want to know. You know, our person's name is Family First. So Family First, make sure you use I statements. Make sure that you say things that occur to you, how it's making you feel about how you treat their family and how you feel your family doesn't get treated the same way. What'd you say, Mrs. Contreras? For me, it's been just me and my daughters for so long. Now that we have this family of 50 plus people, I know it. When it grows, it's no turning back. Once you link up and mix families together, ain't no turning back, you know, unless y'all just sever ties. You know, if that's the case, if y'all just, you know, even if y'all break up, if y'all got along with somebody in their family, more than likely they, you know, y'all probably gonna say what's up every now and then. Y'all may, if you see him in the streets, you may be like, you don't know, man. You may hit him with the TI, but you may be like, what's up? Hit him with the head nod or something, you know. Like I say, just because it ain't love don't mean it's got to be beef. You understand? That's my take on it. So, like, mixed families are tough once you get in them. It's like a gang. It's hard to get out. It's hard to get out of them. Like you can get out of gangs, you can get out of mixed families, but it's hard. It's tough, you know? So once you found those compromises together, now you got to find a way to reinforce the positive, right? They be like, what do you mean by that, 360? How do you reinforce the positive? When you see that your partner is making an effort, you know, after you've had these conversations and, you know, you talked about it, you found compromises. Once you see that your partner is making an effort to, you know, show you that the intent is to treat your family similar to how you treat theirs. Like once you see that, recognize that. Be like, yo, I appreciate you, you know, hitting up auntie on her birthday. You know, that made a difference. You know what I mean? That made her day. She talked about it to everybody. Did you know such and such called me? You know what I mean? So acknowledge those things. Like when you know, we talked about that before. Celebrate the small victories. That'll show you that's when your championship belt is won, that it was worth it. You worked for it. You put in the hours. But you say my family is loving, so it's been all good. You say so far, but then we all have our ways of living. And it's always that. And usually the dynamic comes down to how your family living, like what they do. Like, you know, do I want to be around them, or, you know, or do we live like that, or do you want to get away from that? So it's a lot of those things to kind of double dutch through in that dynamic, right? But again, once you find those compromises, then you got Miss Mary Mack all dressed in black with silver buttons all down her back. You know what I mean? So you in rhythm with one another once you find out what are the lyrics that go together. You know, it's a song. If you living and singing through life, that means life is love, compromise. Exactly. You find those together. Then you reinforce the positive when you see them making an effort. Don't just leave them out there wondering if are they making a difference in how you feel. You use those I statements. You pointed at yourself. Are they making a difference? Are the boxes being checked? So let them know when the smallest of small boxes get checked. When you recognize it, you know what I mean? So you got to reinforce the positive. You know, you can't just be out here be like, oh, okay, cool. We talked about it. You know, you'll be all right one day. You'll be all right one day. You know, that ain't cool to be. You know, like Kelly Steele said, she said, like, you know, don't let it build up. You have to, when these things come about, don't let it build up to where like the conversation can be damn near explosive. Would you say, Click? I hate to say it, but if they're interracial couple, it's not always accepted. That's another thing. You're right. That's true too. You say, hell, my husband is learning about my daughters, and they grown. Exactly. See, again, I know. At least in them grown as hell. You know, so it's like you have to find, like, my wife and, you know, our daughters are grown. You understand what I'm saying? Like, my oldest is 31, and then baby Mimi, she'll be 30 in December. So it's like, you know, the kids are grown. So you got to factor in these things depending on the age, depending on what family members we talking about. Sometimes they may bring their, you know, parental figures or their immediate siblings, and you may be talking about some cousins or some uncles that's been on the run. You never know what the dynamic may be until you ask these questions. Don't be afraid to ask the questions. But this is my thing. When you ask a question, be ready to answer that same question. That's where a lot of us drop the ball. I've fumbled at that goal line of questioning numerous times in life. I'm ready to drop my question like a drum line beat, right? But then when they turn around and boomerang it back at my ass, I don't know how to answer that. Why not? Right, exactly, Mrs. Contreras. He's a granddad and never even has his own biological children. So now you got to take on pawpaw. You got to take on pawpaw duties out of nowhere. You know my pawpaw ass. I got 6 grandkids. Yeah. Drop your jaw. Put your mind blow emoji up. Yeah, I got 6 of them, ranging from 1 to 15, everything in between. You know, so again, this dynamic comes about by not addressing how you feel, by, like Kelly Steele said, letting it fester. Now it's a big thing. It could have been handled before it became a blister, when it was just a callus. You could have went and got a pedicure, metaphorically, by having the conversation. That could have been the pedicure you needed to keep this callus from turning into a blister. So don't sit on it. It's not an egg that you're trying to hatch. You're not trying to, because it's not about like who wins. That's the problem. Like a lot of us, you know, we get protective. Like, you know, it's not about keeping score. You know, it's about building a partnership. Exactly, through communication. Exactly, Mrs. Contreras. It's about building a partnership that you both feel, the two words that you have to feel in a relationship. Supported. That's a big thing in any relationship. You must feel that your partner supports you. And you must feel valued. Like you worth something in this relationship. So you want to get to that point where you both feel that way, right? So support is big. It's big. Support, you better support. You know, support is more important in a relationship than it is in a bra. Or a jock strap. I'll speak from my perspective, but I got all sisters. I know how important brassieres are. You know, but support in a relationship is even more important than either of those. In a jock strap or a brassiere. That sounds so old. That's like I say reefer. You know, but you got to remember, it's not about keeping score. It's about building brick by brick, you know, one at a time, layer by layer. So family dynamics can be tricky. So remember that, y'all. You know, validation's another one, too. But be open with communication and have a willingness to understand each other. And that's where you'll find the balance. Have a willingness. Be willing. You know, you'd be like, yeah, I can. You can do anything, but are you willing to do it? Have a willingness to understand each other by these open lines of communication and being receptive to them, showing the reward for them, you know? But again, you know, that's where we're going to find the balance at. So again, thanks to my writer, and thanks to Family First, and thanks to all my listeners and all my viewers. I appreciate y'all each and every week. And remember, like, if you got something else to say on this topic, hit me with an email. You know, hit me on the Instagram or on Facebook and in the DMs, as the kids call it nowadays. Hit me in the DMs or hit me at holla@thehomie@gmail.com. That's HOLLAATTHAHOMIE. That's gmail.com. So again, until next time, take care of yourself and each other. I've been 360 the Poet. I'm going to holler at y'all in a minute.
Keep your radio dial right here. You're locked into the hottest news station on the planet. Hot 702.5 in FM sound. Blazing today's hip-hop, R&B, and pop music. Keeping your radio on fire. Bringing you the hottest, realest, riskiest talk shows live 24/7 on hot 702.5fm.com.